And to dive deeper into the data on China's economy, I'm joined by Anil Gupta. He's a professor at the Smith School of Business at the University of Maryland. Welcome back to the show.
Good to be here.
You know, again, we've heard that these numbers are the slowest China has seen in years, but it hasn't been a surprise given the predictions. So what does this actually show?
Yeah. And in fact, I mean, exactly as you said, that while it is the slowest in years, almost like in 3 decades, but at the same time, as Premier Lee has already said, this year's targets are about between 6.5 and 7. So, 6.7 is smack in the middle of that. Not only that, actually, Premier Lee has said time and again that 2016 will actually be more challenging than last year. So therefore, once again, if you look at 6.7, that we would look at it as, of course, a continuation of the slowdown. But at the same time, it's 6.7 is better than 6.5. That said, we still have to see how the whole year plays out, because the IMF, for example, is forecasting that China's GDP growth during the year will be 6.5. And so clearly 6.5 averaged out for the whole year will mean that further slowdown is likely. And also we have to see, in terms of the sustainability of the 6.7%, because, there are some indication that the 6.7% growth rate in the Q1, actually part of it is due to really stimulus. So if you look at, for instance, property sales by square footage in Q1, they were 33% higher than in Q4 of last year. If you look at industrial production growth, so if you look at various measures, clearly stimulus has had some effect. So the question now is, can that stimulus be sustained? Should it be sustained for the rest of the year?
There was that instability at the beginning of the year, and then last month we had the major CPP, CC, NPC meetings in Beijing, the release of the new 5-year plan. So
yes.
What are you projecting as we go on?
Do
you think that we're at the bottom now? Do you think 6.5 could be the bottom, and then now there's nowhere to go back but up?
I think, I would be a bit cautious on that, because, as you said exactly, that the plan says 6.5%, for this 5-year period. But I think 2016, we are more likely to see closer to 6.5 than 7. And I think the transition, the change that China needs to undergo from investment to consumption, that change is so brutally hard that there is no way that China can accomplish that within 1 year. What does that mean? Is that, in fact, whatever the figures for 2016 end up being, I think the 2017 is likely to see somewhat slower growth than in 2016. So if 2016 is 6.5 and 17 is somewhat slower, that would cast some caution about whether the 5-year plan target of 6.5 can actually be achieved. It's going to be very challenging.
I think you touched on this a moment ago, but where do you see fueling growth in China? Which areas are expected to see some cutbacks?
Yes. So I think, it's, in terms of where the cutbacks are taking place, will take place, will be really all the things connected to construction. So we're talking steel, cement, glass, industries like that. But also, not cut back so much, but almost like grinding down to close to zero growth. I think we are likely to see in the auto sector, because just look at not only the auto density that we already have in China, and particularly you look at the congestion and the pollution that we have in the tier 1, tier 2 cities, and what the local governments are putting in place in terms of limiting the number of cars on the road. And so we won't see cutback in the auto sector, but we will see, pretty much a massive slowdown in investment rate. On the growth side, I think, lots of consumption areas we will see, and services, clearly services. In particular in services, if I think in terms of the major areas, I think the biggest areas will be healthcare. Despite slowdown in financial services that we expect this year as compared to last year, 5-year period, I would expect financial services to be a high growth sector, and lots of things connected to travel and tourism.
All right, Anil Gupta, you heard it here first. We'll see if your predictions come true down the road. Thank you so much, as always, for your time.
Thank you very much.